All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you parents and students for being here this evening. Welcome to the Harmon 6th grade band parent information meeting for our upcoming school year. We are so grateful you're with us this evening, and we hope tonight will be an informative session about all the music that's in store for your students in band. I'm going to stop presenting my screen here. Hopefully you see me on your screen. If somebody could give me a thumbs up that you can see what's going on. Awesome, fantastic. Well, my name is Greg Benson, and I'm the band director here at Pickerington North High School. I also teach at Harmon Middle School as the woodwind instructor, and I welcome you to tonight's meeting. And I'm blessed by a wonderful staff that I will introduce in just a moment, and they'll be able to speak to you. For the etiquette for tonight's meeting, if you would all remain on mute during the meeting, if you have any questions, post them in the chat. Our directors will be monitoring the chat for questions throughout the meeting, and we'll do our best to speak to all of your questions. So, like I said, I'm blessed to work with a great staff, and your students are in great hands regardless of whether they are starting band in any of our 6th grade buildings, Tollgate, Harmon, or Diley, and on through their journeys to Ridgeview, Lakeview, or Central or North High Schools. The first person I'd like to introduce and ask them to unmute themselves is my colleague, Mr. Chris Carmine, who's one of our percussion instructors.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Chris Carmine, and as Mr. Benson said, I am the percussion assistant director and happy to be working with your students and getting them started on a really exciting musical journey here in the Harmon Band.
Thank you, Mr. Carmine. And then next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Matt Guerreri, who's also one of our instructors. Mr. Guerreri.
Hello, everyone. Just great to see all of you tonight. I'm the woodwind instructor at Tollgate, but I also get a chance to often help out with Harmon. So it's great to see you, and we're excited to have you on board.
Thank you, Mr. Guerreri. And our brass instructor at Harmon Middle School and one of our Lakeview band directors, Mrs. Tracy Perulikar. Mrs. Perulikar.
Hi, so I'm Tracy Perulikar. I help with 7th grade band at Lakeview and teach 8th grade band. I teach the trumpet and trombone classes at Harmon. I think this is one of my favorite times of year to watch the 5th graders try the instruments, and they're so excited, and it's so much fun to watch them start a journey that's going to take them over the next 6 years and be an awesome experience for them.
Thank you, Mrs. Perulikar. And I'd like to introduce a couple other additional staff. Some are on the call with us, and some are unable to join this evening. However, they will interact with your students even beyond the walls of Harmon as they continue their musical journey. And one of those individuals is Dr. Mark Perulikar. He's our music coordinator in Pickerington, and he is the brass instructor at Tollgate Middle School and also assists occasionally with Harmon. On the call this evening, I'll let him introduce himself. This is Mr. Nate Stowe. He's the band director at Central High School and also an instructor of brass at Diley Middle School. Mr. Stowe.
It said he left the meeting.
He's just right there back on the screen I see now. Thank you for pointing that out. Mr. Stowe, did you get that introduction? Would you like to say a few words?
I did. I hit the wrong button, guys. I apologize. My name's Mr. Stowe. I'm the band director on the central side of the district. And although I might not see some of you in the 6th grade at Harmon, I will definitely see you in the 7th, 8th, and beyond grades when you move on to junior high. So I just wanted to be a familiar face here and echo what Mrs. Perulikar was saying about this is one of my favorite times of the year as well. So look forward to seeing you guys all soon, albeit maybe in another year.
Thank you, Mr. Stowe. And then the final two people to introduce to you is before we get into the details of our meeting tonight, Mr. Tim Gorgas is one of our percussion instructors that assists at Central High School, Ridgeview, Junior High, and at Diley Middle School, and helped us today with a number of our percussion fittings at Harmon. And then Mr. Matt Hakes, who's our counterpart woodwind instructor at Diley Middle School and band director at Ridgeview. I introduce all these wonderful people because you can see we have an army of fantastic teachers that's ready to serve your students as they join band. So welcome to tonight, and I'd like to begin pointing out some very important information as your student begins their journey in band. First of all, I'm going to start presenting my screen. So hopefully at this point, you are familiar with our joinpickbands.com website. And this is the one-stop shop for all information necessary for the 6th grade bands as we move into the coming school year. This is where you can find out instrument information, where you can contact directors, and where your students can get excited about the instruments they're choosing. So right now you see our home screen on the Join Pick Bands website. And what I want to draw your attention to is a number of tabs up at the top that give you a variety of pages to visit to explore the bands. But the last tab says Get My Instrument. I'm going to go ahead and click on that here. And the reason I draw your attention to this particular page is this link right here that I'm highlighting, the Parent Information Letter. If you click on this link, it populates a letter that has all the details and contact information for all of our band directors and all the instrument information you would need, what the process looks like to be in band, how one acquires an instrument. This is the most informative spot to find all the information you would need. As you can see, it indicates a couple of options to get the instruments. It indicates what we expect for each instrument supply to have, as well as talks about reputable instrument brands. And we're going to talk about a lot of these details in our meeting tonight, but it's absolutely essential that this is for you to review so that you can be fully aware of all the things in store for your students' journey in band. So that can be found on our band website, joinpickbands.com. It is also hubbed on this page, Get My Instrument, down here in its entirety if the link for some reason will not pop up on your computer. So that is our parent information letter. So I'll return to the website in just a moment, but I'm going to stop presenting my screen one last time here. And as we get into beginning band, you may be wondering about some of the beginning band basics. And this would be the who, why, and what of band. Your student came home this afternoon and was excited about all the instruments they tried today. And this is what they're looking forward to. So what's the who of band? 6th grade students who are looking for a new challenge, want to learn about music, and be a part of the largest team in the school while having tons of fun. Those are the students that we're looking for in the 6th grade band. Both Harmon and Tollgate band classes are for all students, regardless of which junior high they will be attending. As you saw by the myriad of staff we have a robust band program from the very beginning in 6th grade all the way through high school available to your student. So the why of band. So why would a student choose to join the 6th grade band? The study of music teaches students creativity, critical thinking, self-motivation, and discipline. And it also teaches students a new mode of describing the world around them. And frankly, students become a part of an exceptional peer group when they join the band program. To give you an overarching highlight of some of the accomplishments of students that have been a part of our band programs, by the time these students reach high school, those involved in the band program, we have over 40 Decim Decorii members across the legacy of the band, and that is top 10 GPA earners. We have over 12 PSAT National Merit finalists. We have over 60 all-state performers. We have two all-national honor band performers. And 40% of the high school National Honor Society members are band students. Over 130 band members are taking honors courses. Over 100 band members are taking AP or College Credit Plus courses. And over 130 band members are taking at least one elective in addition to band. So you can see that band students often become the most high-achieving students in our schools, starting all the way from the 6th grade up through high school. Now for the what of band. So what is it that your students will be doing in band class in 6th grade? Students will begin by expanding on the music knowledge they've gained in elementary and middle school. They will focus on learning how to produce characteristic tone and music reading on their instrument. And they will take all those skills and learn how to make music as individuals and as an ensemble. So this is truly a remarkable class that's very different from a lot of the other courses available to your student, and that's what makes it so exciting. I want to draw your attention once again to our website, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. And even after all that, if you need even more convincing as to why band is the right thing for your students, if you click our Why Band tab on our website, we have a number of resources here. First of all, we have 3 testimonial videos of students that have been involved in our band programs as to why they chose what instrument they play, why they chose to join band, and all of the memories they've made as a part of it. And then below, we list the top 10 reasons to participate in our 6th grade band programs. Creativity. Music is a creative art. It teaches that. Confidence. Students will be learning a new skill and performing it for their peers and an audience. That builds confidence. Problem-solving skills. Students will meet a challenge at some point in learning their instrument, and they will learn how to overcome that. Perseverance. Students, once again, they will overcome that challenge and push through to learn to the next skill. They will learn focus. They will learn nonverbal communication. They will be able to receive constructive feedback and act on it. They will collaborate with their peers and their teachers. They will develop dedication towards learning and growing in a particular task. And they will develop accountability as well. So we like to present each of those because band truly is for everyone and grows the entire person, not just the musician side of each of our students. So today, the students each got to complete an instrument fitting process. They did this in the school day in their homerooms visiting our instrument fitting location, and all the students did a fantastic job and got really excited about the instruments they tried. We had music specialists come in who have extensive experience fitting students on instruments and know what characteristics to look for and frankly what to provide as far as instruction in just a short 5-minute period to help the students be immediately successful on that instrument. There's many factors that our fitters during the band fitting look at to help fit the right instrument to the student. They look at hand size, they look at body size, they look at orthodontia, they look at facial features, and all of these are contributors to success on each of the instruments. I want to emphasize that there's an instrument for every student, and any obstacle is overcome through the correct fitting of an instrument. And that's why this fitting process today was so important. Again, the students all did a wonderful job, and at the end of their fitting process, they got to conference with the band director about the instrument they want to play and the one they were most excited about. Some of them ended up on the instrument that they were intending to try today, and others discovered a new instrument that they weren't necessarily sure they liked that they're now really excited about. Once again, so the goal is to place your student on the instrument that suits them best, because if they have success and like playing that instrument and like how it sounds, they will continue and be able to thrive in our band programs. So you've probably seen the green half sheet that came home with your students today attached to a letter that gave you the link to this meeting. That green half sheet indicates what instruments your students were interested in today and what they tried and what they were best at. And so the goal of that is to give you the information as to the choice your student is leaning towards as far as choosing an instrument for band. And those instruments for the 6th grade band next year for their opportunity to join in Harmon Middle School are the flute and the clarinet. Those are our woodwind family instruments that are available in the 6th grade. We also have our brass family, the trumpet and the trombone. And then in addition, we have one other family of instruments called the percussion section. And so you have flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, and percussion available to your student in the 6th grade. You see those listed on those 3 half green sheets. So as we were fitting students today and we looked at each of their interests, the selection process kind of goes like this. All classes have target enrollment numbers in band per instrument. So for all students to have a great band experience, it's necessary to have what we call balanced instrumentation. So for example, if you know what a piccolo is, it's a very, very tiny high-pitched flute. And then if you know what a snare drum is, it would be difficult to listen to a concert with 43 piccolos and 75 snare drums. So what we do is we take all the students' interests and we build the most balanced group for each class that we can. So when they play individually and as a class and as a full ensemble, they can be the most successful. So to that end, in addition to the 5 instruments that we start in 6th grade, some students today were curious about some expanded instruments in the future. If they were interested in the French horn or baritone, we asked them to try a trumpet today, and that would be a good instrument for them to start on. If they're interested in the oboe, bassoon, or saxophone, we asked them to try a clarinet or a flute today, as those also belong to the woodwind family. And if they were interested in the baritone or tuba, we also encouraged them to try trombone today. The reason I mention those other instruments is because the band includes a number of different instruments of varied instrumentation that make up its very unique sound. But the 5 instruments we start in 5th grade are the foundation. So the instrument that a student starts leads them down a path to continuing with that particular instrument, which we need all 5 of those instruments in our end product bands. But we also have these additional color instruments that add variety to the ensemble. And so those are the pathways that I just described to those instruments. So the 5th family of instrument that I mentioned was the percussion family. And this is the one group of instruments that actually learns more than one instrument. And so to talk a little bit more about percussion, I want to bring Mr. Carmine back to the screen here. And he's going to talk to you as he's one of our esteemed percussion instructors and our primary Harmon percussion instructor. So Mr. Carmine, you can talk to us a little bit about percussion for our students.
Thank you, Mr. Benson, and hello again, everybody. We really enjoyed seeing all your children today in school and hope that they enjoyed exploring all the instruments. The most important thing I want to communicate about percussion is that it's really, and for students who are interested in percussion and their parents, is percussion is really a family of instruments that's quite large, and that makes it pretty cool and pretty fun. That's why I love it, because it is a variety of instruments you get to play, not just one instrument. On the other hand, that does mean more practice. And so being in percussion means you actually practice 2 main instruments in 6th grade, snare drum or drum pad and bells, instead of just one. In 7th grade, we add timpani and expand to 3 main instruments along with a lot of other smaller instruments. So it's important to understand that percussionists are expected to develop a proficiency on snare drum, mallet instruments like bells, xylophone, marimba, timpani, and auxiliary instruments like cymbals, tambourine, triangle, woodblock, and the list goes on and on. So you might have thought you were simply interested in playing the drums, but there's a lot more to it than just that. So if your child showed potential for percussion today, you'll be receiving an email with information and instructions. Those students identified as a good match for percussion will go through a second, more complete fitting that will assist us in making the best decision about instrument selection for each student. Those students who were not identified as a good match for percussion will be hearing from either myself and or another director soon in order to communicate with you about an alternate instrument and also to verify which class your child will be enrolled in. It is really important to note that we had Mr. Stowe on here earlier, and we mentioned Mr. Gorgas. So we have some students who may be going to Ridgeview and Central Junior High. And for those students who were identified as potential candidates for percussion and they're invited to do this second fitting, those students who attend Ridgeview and Central should and will meet with Mr. Gorgas for that instead of with me. So that's important to note. And as I said, the instructions that will be in the email will kind of outline all of those things. And as always, I believe my email is on the website and all kinds of documentation with everyone else's. So if you ever have any percussion related questions, I'm happy to help. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Carmine, for providing some very helpful information about percussion today. So as Mr. Carmine mentioned, if your student expressed interest in percussion in the fitting today, you'll be receiving contact about that particular section. In addition, as we begin the process here to show you tonight about how to acquire an instrument, what we want to mention to you is that a director will be reaching out to you to confirm your student's instrument selection and therefore allow you to proceed in procuring an instrument for their instruction next year. But we will be doing that between now and Saturday, May 15th. No later than that date, and in all likelihood sooner, you'll get a confirmation email about your student has been selected to play, and it's going to likely, very, very likely be one of their very top choices for band. And so we want to find that best instrument fit, but we ask that you wait for that confirmation email from a director to indicate the instrument your student has been enrolled in for or in selected for the upcoming school year. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about how to get an instrument, the instrument purchasing or rental process. Each student that participates in the band program in 6th grade does get their own instrument. Most families choose to rent to own this instrument through a program that I'll describe here shortly. But I wanted to give you some basics about renting or purchasing an instrument and the process of doing that. Once again, I want to remind you, as you hear about this process, please wait to hear from a director to confirm the instrument your student will be playing, and then you can proceed with this process. So we want to emphasize that in the world of a lot of online shopping, it's easy to perhaps find an instrument available online, and that may be kind of a purchase that is not one that you can test. We want to emphasize that you want to make sure that you can test all the instruments that you would be getting for your student. It's impossible to know the quality of the instrument sometimes through an online vendor. And so we want to emphasize that being able to test the instrument and physically hold it is very important. And our band staff are happy to help check any integrity of an instrument that you find and make sure it's in good working order for your student. We also want to caution you about brands that come from places like Amazon because those online retailers partner with certain manufacturers that don't actually make quality instruments. Their instruments, unfortunately, become a hindrance to the student learning. And while they may appear inexpensive up front, they become very expensive later when students need to replace or repair them. So again, quality instruments, which are outlined in that parent letter, is the #1 thing we emphasize for our students. Should you choose to rent an instrument from a vendor or through our partnership with Reading Music, which I'll describe in just a moment, we want to emphasize a couple things you should look out for. All money towards a rental should apply to the purchase price of an instrument. And we want to make sure that you check for hidden fees, insurance, etc., that may be there so that you can take the best advantage of your investment in the instrument. In the parent letter, we also outline some equipment that's necessary for each student to be successful. We want you to make sure that if you're renting an instrument that you check to make sure all of those things are included in that process. And it's especially important that the students have the correct mouthpiece for their instrument. That's listed under that essential equipment on the parent information letter as well. This makes playing easier for your student as mouthpieces, sizes, and kind of strengths, in other words, play to the age level of the student starting the instrument. So we want them to be successful. We also want to make sure that your rental program comes with an agreement for loaners should any repair need to be made. That way your student can continue learning in the absence of a repair needed to their instrument. And while students are taught to take very good care of their instrument, there will be some moment perhaps that your student may need to have an instrument repaired, and we want them to be able to continue learning during that process. So now I want to speak to our partnership with Reading Music. Reading Music is a local family-owned music company here in Central Ohio, and we partner with them to help provide a one-stop shop, easy access to get all the instruments and equipment that your student would need to be successful. And on the call this evening is our representative that calls on the Pickerington schools from Reading Music. This is Mr. Jeremy Ewing. I'm going to invite him to introduce himself, and then I'll emphasize and go over the Reading Music process for acquiring an instrument. Mr. Ewing, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Jeremy Ewing. I'm very happy to be a part of this. Everything that we do with the Pickerington schools is at your convenience. So never do you have to visit the store. You can do everything online. And then anything that you order or the instrument that you choose, once you have selected that, I deliver to the school. So everything is based for your convenience to make sure that the students have a great instrument in their hands based off of what we've talked about with those teachers. So please feel great comfort that nothing is going to be out of your convenience, and I'm here to help out in any way possible. So it's great to be here, and I wish everybody great luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ewing. So now I'm going to share my screen here and present to you how you can access the links necessary to get an instrument for your student. Again, we want to emphasize that as we show you this process, to please await the contact from a director confirming your instrument for your student, and then you may complete this process, which is conveniently hubbed on our website. So if you look through our joinpickbands.com website and you click on the Get My Instrument tab, you see down here under the Redig Music logo, Get My Instrument, click to get started. Okay, so this company, Redig Music, they've helped with our fittings today. They have a quick and easy ordering process, and they can offer an exchange and return of an instrument at any time, no penalty for stopping early, and it's very easy to get approved with an easy deposit to get started. And that's what we're going to show you right now. So when we click on this Get My Instrument, click to get started, it takes you to a rent-to-own page of Redig Music. And what you would do is click on band. The instruments that your students came home with on that half sheet are band instruments. So you click this, and you can see at the top, there's a multi-step process here to get you quickly on your way to having your student's instrument in your hands. One very unique thing about Redig is that they offer delivery to our buildings for the first class. So what you would do is when you're interested in getting your instrument through Redig, you would select our district, which would be Pickerington Local Schools. So I will select that here. And then you would select the school your student attends. In this case, it would be Harmon. When you do that, you then click Next. And of course, you have to select the instrument your student has been confirmed to play: flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, or percussion. So I will select flute for the purposes of our demonstration. And as you can see, the first 3 months that they offer at one low price, $12, which includes the first 3 months of your rental for your instrument, free service and maintenance, and free pickup and delivery to your school. This is an outstanding start to a rental for an instrument, because as students get started, we want them to feel, and their families to feel comfortable, that this is something new, and we want you to be provided the opportunity to start it without fear of getting locked into an investment that may or may not be for your student. However, I assure you that the band staff works very hard to make sure every student is successful, and our continuation rate in band is well above 90%. So as you click Next here, it takes you to some accessories that we recommend for the student, and that would be things like a music stand, a care kit, which is those essential equipment parts that are listed on the parent letter, and our Accent on Achievement method book. So that's the beginning band method book, kind of the roadmap to learning an instrument that we use in our classes. Once you continue down the process, you can see a number of options available to you in the rent-to-own process. So as you engage in this process with Redig Music, at the end of the payment cycle for your instrument, you actually end up owning this instrument. And there's some additional benefits, as you can see described here on the screen, for different payments made at different times to either go ahead and purchase the instrument or finish out the rental payments early. There's some discounts available to you. Then as we continue on, once you find that you've gotten all things selected correctly, you can input your payment method easily online and go through the agreement here. And again, this is a low obligation situation, which we're trying to find the right situation for your student to be successful. And then the most important thing here, as you select your delivery and pickup options, you want to select the school, which has already been selected earlier in the process. That will ensure that your student's instrument shows up on day one for their first band class next year in 6th grade. Okay, and then all here, you can see all the information needed necessary to have your instrument logged on for your account with Redig Music, and then begin the process of learning an instrument. They really make it exceptionally easy, and that's why we partner with Redig. They deliver quality instruments. They have repair contracts as part of this rental process to keep your instruments in working order. And we know that these instruments will last, and students will be successful on them because they are reputable. So that's our rental process through Reading Music. And again, we emphasize that this is a great option. It is not the only option. We do not exclusively mandate that you use this option, but we do highly encourage it because Reading Music does such a great job serving our students here in Pickerington. And as you get those confirmations between now and Saturday, May 15th, you can begin that process once you've received that information from your director. I'm going to stop presenting here for just a moment. Now, we realize that some of you, parents on the call, may be legacy band members yourself. You may have played an instrument, and you may have a trumpet or a clarinet or a flute laying around in your home, and your student may want to play that. That is perfectly acceptable. We call those kind of homegrown instruments. What we want to make sure, though, is that that instrument's in good working order. So it must be in playable condition. We want to make sure that you get all the additional correct equipment that's necessary and listed in that parent information letter. And again, the band staff would be happy to help make sure and play test that instrument to make sure it's up and running and ready to go for your student. So in addition, we do have a limited supply of school instruments. If there's an obstacle to procuring an instrument for your child, we are happy to help as much as we can. And while that supply is limited, we do have some limited supply of school instrument available. Now, for those who choose an instrument that, like the trombone, there is a number of instruments we have in our roster to allow students to have one instrument at home that you would rent and one instrument at school to use to avoid the transportation on a bus. As our buses do a wonderful job of transporting students to and from school, we like not to overcrowd them with extra equipment. So should your student elect one of those instruments, we're happy to discuss with you how they can have both a home and a school instrument to be able to play. So as we reach towards the end of the conclusion of our meeting tonight, I wanted to address a couple frequently asked questions about band. And certainly if you've had any questions during this meeting, please go ahead and pop them over there in the chat, and our band directors on the call with me will do our best to answer them in that chat. But some of the frequently asked questions are, what about orthodontics? Most all of our band directors at some point, we all are instrumental musicians ourselves. We all had braces, and we all went through the process of learning our instrument while having braces. So I want to assure you that should that be currently for your student or in the future for your student, you absolutely can play an instrument with orthodontics. It's essential that that fitting process today indicated what your student will be most successful at, but all instruments can be played even if your student has braces. So that's one question we often get about students at this grade level, beginning instruments. And the other question is, when does band class meet and what's the obligation? So band class, very fortunately in here at Pickerington, is actually a class during the school day. And this is something our district has been super supportive of, to allow students to be able to participate in band classes and learn all of the wonderful things music has to offer, while still leaving some of their after school time free to be in clubs and athletics and all of those things. So band classes do occur during the school day. It is a class. It serves as your child's music elective. And they do not miss any other class instruction time, which is a wonderful part of our band instruction. There aren't any after-school practices in 6th grade, and just 2 concerts a year, one around the December time just before the winter school break, and then one towards the end of the school year. So those particular items kind of outline what the time demand on instruments is. The only thing we ask is that students consistently practice their instrument for 10 to 15 minutes a day outside of school. That allows them to be successful, and when students are successful, they love band. So as we conclude our meeting here, what I would ask you to do, I'm going to share our screen one last time here. As you can see, at the top of our home page of our website, you see a Sign Me Up tab. This is incredibly important to help us gather information about students that are interested in our ensembles and being a part of the 6th grade band. So if you click that Sign Me Up tab, it takes you to a Google form that says the Pickerington 6th grade band interest form. This is not an obligation. It does not officially register you for the class. However, it does help us gather essential information to be in contact with you before that May 15th date to confirm your child's instrument. So at the end of this call, if you would visit our band website, joinpickbands.com, and I'm going to drop that right now in the chat there, so you can click the link directly. If you visit our website, and if you would please fill out this interest form through the Sign Me Up tab, that would be helpful to us to let us know that you are intending for your student to be a part of our band program. Even if they're still deciding between instruments, they can preference in that Google form their instrument, and we can go from there in a dialogue with the director. So that will help us tremendously as we begin this musical journey with you. So in conclusion, band music opens so many doors for students, both academically and socially. This is truly a family and a place they will make many new friends as being part of the 6th grade band. And they are about to embark on an incredible musical journey that is something unlike any other class they could take in the 6th grade. And we are so grateful to be along for that ride with you all. We are always available and easy to find on our contact page on our band website. All of the contact information for band directors is right here in Harmon Middle School. There you can see is listed at the top should you need to get in touch with any of us with any questions. So in conclusion, thank you all so much for being here this evening. We truly hope that your student will begin to join the band in the 6th grade, and we are happy to be of great service to them as we know what music has done for our lives and want to give that back to our students. So thanks for attending tonight. We hope to see you in the 6th grade band students next year at Harmon Middle School. We can't wait to get started. And if you have any additional questions this evening, our directors will hang around in the chat. Thanks again for being here, and we look forward to being in touch with you soon. Take care.